What's going on, y'all? This your boy Swan with Design Detox with Deondra. And of course, yeah, I'm Deondra. That's my government name. Um, and man, this episode is just really all about who is this guy behind Swan. And of course, Swan is presenting Design Detox with Deondra. And I'm just going to get into it. This is what this is about. Um, so, yeah, boom, transition, right? So, man, let's see where to start. I mean, born on the east side of Arkansas, right? Um, Graduated on the east side. I don't want no beef or nothing, so I ain't gonna really tell you, the actual location. But man, I when people ask me where I'm from, I just represent all of Arkansas. That's just a thing, man. Because I've kind of been a little bit all over, right? Kind of throughout my life, man. Just kind of moving from the east all the way to the west, and Fort Fort Smith, and you'll get to hear a little bit about that, man. But let's see, I've been in the arts, man, probably since the third grade, man, as I can remember, just drawing. In the third grade, you have those classes where it's the art classes or whatnot, and you kind of find a passion. They introduce you to certain things, in grade school, and that locked in. I found myself drawing all of my collectibles, the Hot Wheel collectibles, the motorcycles, and people just couldn't believe, like, hey, you did that. And it's just one of those God-given talents that I discovered at an early age. So anyways, that's just that background. Just third grade, just moving forward. I get to high school. I win a couple of awards, for a couple of different mediums. I'm pretty dope when it comes to the graphite, the color pencil and charcoal type stuff, and what they call Conti crayon. Anything that's kind of like that. I don't do too much with the paints, but I did find digital painting when I got to college, and I won an award as a graphic designer, amongst all these other people. And you can look me up, just look me up, Deondra Swanigan, and you'll see, like, this guy won some awards. I won some actual graphic awards as well that I always forget about. It's this thing called the Addies. I probably need to look into maybe getting into it a little more, but I entered all that stuff while I was in college and stuff, and won some awards there. But I just say all that about awards just to tell you that it's just been a part of my life for a long time when it comes to arts. I'll say also, I picked up a camera about, was it 5 years ago? So we'll just say before pandemic. So look, I'm sounding like my bro Sean. Y'all hear his episode. He's like, he look at things like that. But anyway, so yeah. So I picked up even that. That's artsy, so and I've just always just been one of those problem solving type of people. So what else, man? Deondra. Military. So outside of, all the arts and stuff, I did 8 years in the military as a 12 Bravo combat engineer. So that experience, man, I already had a lot of, cool foundations from my mom, which you'll hear about a little later. But the military, man, I guess it did some things. It kind of changed my perspective, like, on life. After you get back from basic training and stuff like that, and how you're back embedded into this civilian, quote unquote, civilian life. Um, Things just don't look the same. And although they say that, kind of looking back, like I think if you go through anything for months at a time and then come back to the quote unquote real world, then your perspective is definitely gonna change. So that's just my way to say. I wouldn't necessarily give credit to the military in itself, but just that experience in that moment of being away. It taught me a whole lot of things, like people who support you, and stuff like that. And that was one of my first big moments where I made a decision to just do something for me, right? College, trying to get some money in college and all that, right? I wasn't big on the whole fancy car thing, but I'm just trying to, you know what? Although outside of that, the deeper, because this is Design Detox with Deondra, even going even deeper with the military. And when I talk about this, we're easy to just stay surface level, but one big reason is my dad, man, that signed my birth certificate, Nathan Swanigan, right? And I say sign my birth certificate for a reason, and we can talk about that at a later date. But you guys who get it. And man, he signed it. He was in the military, and he passed away. But the military, kind of gave us, me and my brother, checks and stuff. Man, they kind of took care of us, right? So I'm what they call a dependent. My whole life, even when I go to college, they're taking care of me. But I guess me going to the military was a way to say, hey, man, I want to get to know, I guess, my father, right, that I didn't know. So that's just something deep there, man. Another like deeper reason of why I kind of went. It definitely played some different roles, but that was one of them, just to be transparent there. But what else about, man, Deondra? So married. That's the big things. I'm married, been married about 6 years now, to Lindsay Swanigan. Check her out, man. Look, I got to do the shout out for the wife, right? So if you're in the Conway, sort of, Morrilton and Little Rock area, mainly the Conway area, if you need somebody to help, like some tutoring help, she got you, man. She can help you out really with anything. But I would say science and math are her specialties, but she can help anybody. I think if I'm getting this right, under sixth grade or something, sixth grade and under, she can help with any subject, of course. But above that, even from college level, she can do the science and the math. So shout out to the wife there, man, with the tutoring business, doing that. So what else? Look, I probably need to kind of cheat a little bit. You know how you have to have these notes. Okay, yeah, what kind of make up me? So I think I talked about COVID, and I like being married definitely have been a perspective shift and molded me to who I am, right? So I think you definitely, of course, you learn patience, you learn how to listen to people and just slow down. But I think even this year, there's been another level of this, what you call slowing down, because people are so quick to just move forward or say hi. Like I was telling somebody, right, quick story. If you have a house and you say hey to your neighbor, but you only know their first name, and you've never even sat down with them for a lunch or dinner, or visited them and just really just got to know them. We're always in a hurry, right? I also was telling my pastor and just a list of other people. This same thing is just something that have clicked this year. That, you know, we move fast. We're always in a hurry. So my thing, even with Design Detox with Deondra, is just to kind of slow down. You chill, like ask those questions. Even in business, this entrepreneurship, this business life, we're trying to move fast. I have a lot of people, try to, ask me like, hey, can you do this, do that? And they don't even have patience enough to even just get on the calendar. They don't even have the drive enough to try to, really just get to know somebody. There's only so many videos or podcasts you can do before you really just know a person. Just get on that call and ask those specific questions that you want to know. That's just my thing. So you can be able to communicate better. And that's just kind of a whole nother little conversation in itself. But I definitely wanted to just kind of bring that around when talking about, just marriage and life and just everything that have molded me. So, but speaking of molding and COVID and stuff, man, so one big pivotal moment that just kind of changed my journey when it comes to business was when I was working. Before I even graduated as at Russellville, Arkansas Tech, as a graphic design major. I got a job about maybe 1 or 2 months before I graduated, something like that. Thought I was the man, whatever. And of course, talented and all that. So I get with this organization, Weldon Williams and Lick, and they print the Super Bowl tickets. And of course, for you Cowboy fans, they print those as well. So that was just cool being able to just see that in itself. From the start, the challenges, just learning the printing world and how it works, to just the results, and just learning certain things, certain, what do you call it, guidelines that have to be set in place, and just knowing certain boundaries that can be broken a little bit. I'm definitely want to kind of push. So just being able to just seeing like how far certain things can go, SOPs, all that corporate, the agency type stuff. So I was able to be in that life for about 3.5 years before COVID hit, and they basically let go. I feel like 60% of the company, which was probably 200 and something people at the time. But anyways, just learning all that stuff, man, was pretty big for me. So when somebody come to me, what makes me stand out as a graphic designer is that, hey, I already know how this needs to be laid out. I already know I'm dealing with I was dealing with really big, accounts, as they would call it, right? So some of these accounts could be worth $300K, 600K, 700K. So I'm just used to working with those big accounts when it comes to the whole graphic side of things. So imagine somebody taking some risk, somebody who like pushing the boundaries on the 300K. So you got to really know how to balance that. And I think I've just kind of learned over the years how to do some of that stuff. But one other thing was that I'll probably talk about more in depth is a perspective shift. Is at one point, they're paying me about $20 an hour, and I learned they were pretty transparent that they charge about $220 an hour, right? So it was just like, wait a minute. Like, if they could do that, I'm basically $220 an hour the way I'm looking at this. You know what I'm saying? So I need to, at some point in my I guess my career, I need to reach that point, right? I definitely got some coaches and mentors that I'll talk about later that have reached that point. And it's just pretty cool just being able to have seen that. That was even a seed that was planted that I didn't even maybe believe in to this day that could even happen, but at least it was a seed. So once I got some coaches that God placed in my life, they were able to just kind of water that seed that was kind of already planted, right? That just made sense there. So one other big thing, man, I'll just say my mom, man, has definitely been one of those people who I seen just as a hustler. So man, mom's shoot, I don't know, she could make from making food to what else? Just doing hair. She just do it all, making those baskets. Those moms, right? But I even saw my mom, like, I think for about 3 years she had her own business, just running her own hair salon, right? I would be curious to ask her what happened to what happened with that. But now I could guess to say, hey, knowing now, like things just change to where you just kind of have to make those pivots, which I'll even talk about pivots later, man. I'm a big on that. And it's crazy. I'm talking about pivots because my next thing on my little notes to kind of help me out is about my coach Amber. So man, before, let's see, I'm just rocking along. I've bought courses, and I've watched all these YouTube videos to just really help me just run my graphic design business. They don't teach you this stuff in college, right? You learn some techniques. You don't learn strategy. You don't learn how to talk to a client. You don't learn any of that kind of stuff, right? So here I am. I end up meeting one coach that I'll talk about later, and he just kind of quit his program. He kind of shut it down. He didn't have enough time, but I was still, I guess, eager to be like, man, I gotta find somebody. And this girl came up named Amber Crudup. I think if I'm saying her, I've never could say her last name right, but we'll just keep it at Amber. And it's this Design to Profit or something like that was her 12-month program. And man, I had to put down some money for that. But I was ready to really just kind of go to that next level and really understand this whole graphic thing when it comes to business, like for real. And speaking of that, I guess I'm going fast. So after I got laid off, the perspective from Wedding Williams and Lick was, hey, what do I do next, right? So I'm on unemployment, and it's just like, and all kind of emotions are going around, and I got my supportive wife, and her parents are pretty supportive after we end up having to sell the house. These all kind of things are going on in my head, right? And I'm like, hey, like, what's next? And the thing kind of popped in my head. I've heard it before. It was like, bet on yourself, right? So there I was, I'm betting on myself, and I end up opening my business officially. What do you call it? Probably 2021 officially was when I got the whole LLC and all that stuff, as people would say. But I had been doing this for 10 years. Currently now it's 10 years, right? So to kind of get back on topic about the pivot with Amber is that, she had it all laid out. She talked about the mindset, the kind of how you grew up in the house. It's almost like therapy. Like, what was your relationship with money? Kind of like some premarital counseling type questions. But it just kind of got me going like, oh, it's okay to be that deep. I always thought of all of these things, but nobody ever wanted to listen to that. And people still don't want to really listen. They don't think it's that important, but I think it's important to get to know people. Like, people think that certain information is irrelevant, right? But I'm like, no, we can use that. So a lot of things that we think that can't be used can be used in some kind of way. So I just like to really just take that time and get to know who I'm working with, and their background, their strengths, their weaknesses, even weaknesses you can use. So yeah. And I did want to talk about my first logo. I started on my first logo in 2014, and just kind of a perspective type thing as well. Is the guy, I think I charged him $50, and he gave me a $30 tip, man. And I was just like, whoa. So you could imagine, like knowing even today, like, hey, if somebody is quick to pay you or somebody give you some kind of tip like that, it's like your prices are low. So, and I bring that up to just say, like, Amber, she was big on like really understanding like your price and all that stuff as well. Like, hey, you need to double this. You need to be in this area. Know your hourly rate. Just know where you're going. Don't be afraid to even pivot. All that different jazz, right? So, with that being said, knowing where I'm going, we have to kind of make this, I guess, these goals, right? Like the goal setting thing, but specifically to what kind of business do you want to be? And that was either, hey, I just want to be just an agency doing the graphics, the technical stuff, or hey, I want to actually be transitioning into consulting. And I never even thought about the consulting thing. I had just got on board with what this strategy stuff really was, and that I could even sell that. One cool thing that I always liked that Amber said was, hey, let people know that you'll give them a logo for free, and if they buy the strategy. And I mean, while I'm even on here, like, if you're listening, hey, I'll give you the strategy. Well, I'll give you the logo rather for free if you want to buy the strategy. So definitely reach out to me if you want to do that. So, but anyway, so there I was, just really learning from Amber, and I'm making a pivot. I've put all this money down, so I've made an investment. Although I didn't maybe do everything that I needed to be doing, that was even a lesson in itself, because I need to know how certain clients are, that what kind of push do they need. People that's maybe like me, that have this 9-to-5, that's trying to maybe get out, right? I need to understand where my clientele was, even like from what book they read to what they're searching on the internet, all kind of stuff. I didn't realize that I needed to understand them in that way, right? And how do you get to know them in that way, right? You actually got to take the time and sit down and take these notes and get this research information. So anyways, I didn't think that the consulting stuff would come this fast, but man, a lot of people know me just for the graphics. A couple people know me for, taking pictures. I niche in the headshots, right? The graphics, I'm really dope with the logo design. But with the strategy involved with it, is like, and my artistic abilities, man, it's just layers. I'm one of those that's just gifted, but I've packaged it in such a way that makes sense, right? So consulting, I would consider my main deal, right? With the consulting, it's almost like that deal I told you. Hey, if you get the strategy, you'll get the logo. Right? The logo for free. So with me, if you get the consulting package, you're going to get the logo, the website, the photography, right? So you're going to get all of that. You're going to need that headshot to go on your about page, right? You're going to need those graphics and designs, but you're going to need that business strategy to be and just strategy in general and consulting to be able to know how to maneuver once things even change, or just all kind of stuff, right? So the consulting have come, and what I tell people with that is, hey, I'll be able to show you how to like find about 50K impact in your business, right? So I can tell you, hey, we can implement X, Y, and Z strategies, and this is about how much. So if we implement a strategy that's the marketing dominating position, right? And you're like, well, what is that? So if we implement the marketing dominating position, that really positions you amongst all of your competitors to be, different. Like you're going to be hitting that bottleneck, as people will call, or that bleeding neck situation, right? That bleeding neck situation, and even bottleneck. I know I just used the wrong word, but those challenges. So I'll just really help people with certain challenges in their business to be able to really make that impact. Based on the challenge you have, we can put in certain strategies to tackle those or counter those challenges, right? So what's next? I don't want to forget. Yeah, anyways, I talked about my awards, all kind of stuff. But before we get off here, man, I definitely want to talk about how art and design, I have that art background, but I'm also in design, the graphic design world. So I want to let you know about, like, art is subjective at its core. Design is objective at its core. So design has a function, whereas art has a feeling, right? And you don't want to maybe complicate those things. You really could. You can mix it and all that, but know at its core what it's for. And a lot of people, they just kind of get all that, mixed up. They call design art and all that. But I just want to just leave that to you. And just to end it, man, I'm just an advocate of this, just a design, deeper than design movement, right? Everything as far as design is technically surface level. Although, hey, it needs to have a function, but what does the function of the function even come from? And it's based on those experiences and those stories that we're kind of telling that's going to help mold you and your business, right? So all these things, from seeing my mom, created, who I am. It wasn't the logo or the design, but who I am, the roots of who I am bloomed, the logo or this Deondra or Swan done, right? So that's just to kind of leave you with that. And just man, I just want to thank all y'all, man, for just tuning in to the first episode. And man, we got some special episodes, man, with some really, I just got to call these people my friend. Like I told you, I get to know them on a certain level. So just shout out to them on here, man, and just, hey, tune in. And one big thing, if you're still listening, right, is just don't listen to your friend's podcast, episode. Go listen to somebody else's that you don't know. You're going to get something to be able to help you. So deuces, and thank you so much for tuning in.